Everyone's well aware of the Space Invaders port for the Atari 2600 that really catapulted the home arcade port industry back in the 1980s and sold millions of copies of both the system and the game. Because it was just very cool to be able to play at least a vague representation of the arcade hit at home. And I thought it would be fun, though, to just run you through real quick a very less known port, or should I say clone, of Space Invaders for this 1978 Interact home computer. And it's got a slightly unusual keyboard. It starts with 2, and the 0 and the 1 are to the right. The CR is the enter key. You got the backspace by the space bar. So it's just a abnormal configuration compared to what we're used to now. And it's entirely cassette-based, so every single application you need to load has to be loaded through a cassette player that's built in. So with that, I thought it'd be just cool to show you something that very few people have probably seen or are aware of. So I will switch this on. And there you can see the only thing the integrated ROM does is ask you to press L to begin tape loading. So that's what we'll do, and I think you'll like the way that the tape data loads. The title screen is interesting here. So I will press L, and then I'm just going to play this file through audio. You can see it loads, and the initial bytes that it loads from the cassette actually populate the screen memory. And so most of the cassette games would show some sort of a title screen there as the rest of the data loaded, and then the title screen gets wiped away. But it's pretty interesting for the time. So there you've got the configuration, the basic data. The controllers are also interesting. Turn my light on. I'm just recording this through a phone, roughly so. But this is the controllers for the system. And they've got a joystick standard, a single button, and a potentiometer wheel at the top. So it was kind of like a respectable controller with enough options for the time. And with that, we'll set, you can set the firing speed, so we'll set that to medium. Tournament mode is the most difficult. Then you got intermediate and beginner. I'll just go with intermediate. And here it is. And it's a surprisingly playable, decent sprite graphic version of the classic. And it was called Alien Invaders. And it has UFOs every now and then. There goes one now. Let's see if I can hit it. Yep. And every single alien that you destroy, they get faster and faster and closer as usual. But it's surprisingly probably one of my favorite in the obscure world of clones and ports. It's surprisingly very responsive, and there I got hit. And you can see it gets quite difficult, and there are multiple levels and different things to keep you sort of entertained, I guess, at least for back in the day, and still fun today. And then once you're done, you can actually type your name to save your score. And then you press enter, and then it'll show the high score, and you can start a new game or not. Now, since everything is cassette-based, and this does not allow saving to cassette, as soon as you turn off the machine, your high score is reset and gone. But you can, as a safeguard sort of, if you accidentally hit the reset button and got back to the screen, it does preserve whatever's last in memory. So you can actually just hit the R button to restart, and then you'll be back to the game without having to go through the entire loading process again. So that's pretty much just what I wanted to show. I just find it interesting to look at some of these old more obscure and forgotten ports of popular games. That's all. Thank you.